Yo, so today we're going to be discovering if Keyscape is worth it or not. Alright, so again, we're going to be using my super scientific chart that I made. There's 5 categories, and each of them gets a total out of 10. And then the whole score gets multiplied by 2 to get a total out of 100 for the final score. So the categories are functionality, sound selection, which is broken down into 3 subcategories: variety, quality, and then aftermarket, and then sound design, features, and price. Alright, so the first category, functionality, I gave it a 10 out of 10. The interface is fine, everything works fine. The browser is less detailed than Omnisphere, but it doesn't need to be that detailed because it's not like you have synths, bells, all this different stuff. It's just pianos, so there's really not much like fine searching you need to do. So here's the browser. I mean, it's really simple. You got acoustic pianos, bell tone, clavinets, electric, hybrid, key bass, mini pianos, plucked, vintage, digital keys, and then wind keyboards. So that breaks it down kind of directly enough. But yeah, everything with the functionality is great. It works great. And yeah, so it gets a 10 out of 10 for functionality. Next category is sound selection, which again is broken down into 3. So for the first subcategory, which is variety, it gets a 10 out of 10. As I broke down with the browser, there's a ton of different pianos. Some of my favorite ones that aren't like just the LA Custom are the Wing Upright. A lot of the vintage digital ones are really cool. I've been using those a lot and haven't really gotten into like the wind stuff or much, but some of the mini pianos are pretty cool too. So there is a ton of variety when it comes to pianos, and yeah, that's why it gets a 10 out of 10. Next is quality, which again gets a 10 out of 10. It is really good. It has fantastic quality. The velocity controls are amazing. When you actually sit down and make a MIDI and actually take time to play with the velocities, you can really get detailed with it and it sounds really cool. And another thing with the quality is there's really no bad sounds. Some of them just sound weird that have specific applications that you would only use for certain kind of melodies, but they all sound good. And again, with the velocity things, I'm pretty sure, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but if you really mash and put it at max velocity, you will get some hammer noise and stuff like that, which is really cool, and it really does add some realism and detail to the melody. So the last subcategory is aftermarket, which I gave a 3, which is a really low score. But if you look online, there's no banks you can get for Keyscape. You kind of get what you get, and that's fine because it's just pianos. I don't really think a bank of differently affected pianos would really be that beneficial. So I think it's fine that it doesn't have any, but it would be nice if there was some add-on to it. And the one add-on, of course, is Omnisphere. That's why it didn't get a 0. But that being a $500 add-on, you do get a ton of stuff with it. But it, again, just would be nice if there was a $20 extra bank of pianos or something. And then overall for the sound selection category, it gets a 7.6 out of 10, which is a pretty decent score. Next category is sound design, which is kind of tough to talk on because there's really not much to it. If you look here, you have reverb, EQ, compressor, tweaking the feel, which I've never really done, sustain pedal stuff, and then velocity controls. And yeah, there's really not much to it, but you could design a piano that's better or you like more, but I don't really think there's much benefit in doing that. So I think it's fine that there's not that many options. And if you look on something else here, this isn't the basic piano, but on most of the other pianos you have this thing called character, and you can just click through these and they sound a little bit different, and that's kind of nice. But the one thing that I wish was in Keyscape, which I'm pretty sure it's not, and it's a Keyscape Creative exclusive. If you get Omnisphere and Keyscape, you load Keyscape into Omnisphere, you can mess with the timbre, I think that's how it's pronounced, but it sounds really cool. It's like a detuned pitch shift kind of thing, and it just adds something really nice to the piano, and I use that a lot in my melodies. but I wish it was in just the Keyscape thing, 'cause I think that would be really beneficial. So yeah, for sound design it gets a 5. Next category is features, which gets a 7 out of 10. There's not really any dedicated features to it that I can think of, but again, there doesn't really need to be, because it's just a piano plugin. It's not like you're doing like crazy synth sound design where you want like a lot of different arps and distortion or whatever. But yeah, it gets a 7 out of 10 just because I feel like there could be like some feature Keyscape exclusive. I don't really know what that would be, but I think it would be cool if there was something like that. And then the final category is price, which it gets a 6 out of 10 on. It's $400 on Spectrasonics, but I know on other websites you can get it for around $380, $370, just depending on how hard you look and stuff like that. Like I think on it's called Sweetwater, Sweatwater, something like that. It's 370 something. So if you look around, you might find a little bit of a better price. But overall, for $400, that's pretty pricey. I think you could get a little bit of more variety with if you have $400 to just throw at VSTs. I really think with all of the Spectrasonics VSTs, you do get a little bit of like a higher price because they do all connect together within Omnisphere. And just stuff like that. So overall, the final score was 41.6, which is a lot lower compared to Omnisphere's 74.6. And I think that kind of accurately represents it if you're just getting it on its own. So in my opinion, no, it's not worth it. For $400, you could get a lot of other piano plugins along with just other plugins in general that are more versatile. Sure, they might not be as detailed, have as detailed pianos as Keyscape, but they'll get the job done. So now we can go into some alternatives and also my favorite presets from Keyscape. But the one that I can think of that's paid is Addictive Keys. For the complete collection, which is the Studio Grand, Modern Upright, and Mark 1, and then the Electric Grand, you get about 7 variations, I think it said, per like piano, and that's $200. So for half the price, I think that's more worth it. I've seen people use Addictive Keys and it sounds really good. I personally have never used it, but if you have $400, you could get Addictive Keys and then something like Analog Labs and get those really cool synthy layers. I just think there's more you can do with $400 that like Keyscape would take up. And then some free alternatives would be Keyzone Classic, which I used to use a lot. That's a great free piano VST. And then of course FL Keys, which you really just have to play around with the effects that you put on it to make it sound good. But in my opinion, the best alternative by far, I said this in the last video, is the Gentleman from Contact, and it's a free Contact piano, and it comes in the complete starter bundle, I'm pretty sure it's called, which is free. You get the Contact player, a couple synth banks, like mallet bank, I'm pretty sure, and then the Gentleman. And the Gentleman sounds like this. So overall, that is a really good sounding piano for free. And then I'll just go through some of my favorite Keyscape presets real quick and play some of the ones that I think are notable. So of course, just the basic grand piano is really good. I like the cinematic, I like the softest, the rich ballad is really good. The wash is really good. I'll play that one because someone sounds pretty cool. It has like a lot of reverb. Really cool for like background layers and stuff. I like the classical one. That's pretty much like the normal one, but just a little bit different. Studio, stage, and natural are all kind of like that. The dark score is sometimes really cool. And then the wing upright, the dark indie one, is amazing. There's just a lot of presets in here that I like. In the Rhodes, the Lush Rhodes is really cool. Some of the mini pianos are really cool. The toy pianos are nice. And then, like I said earlier, the vintage digital keys, I've been messing around with these a lot. I think in one of my melodies that I did like yesterday or something, I used this crystal wash, which I really liked the way it turned out. So yeah, those are my favorite presets and stuff like that. But yeah, thank you guys for watching the video. Hopefully now you can make a more informed decision on whether you should get Keyscape or not. Again, probably not. Go with addictive keys and something like Analog Labs. I think that's a little bit of a better value. Yeah, thanks for watching. More tutorial videos this week. I'm only gonna try to do like one of these like weird one-off videos that have nothing to do with like actually making a melody a week. And also try to stream at some point this week, but no promises because it's very aggravating with the audio issues. But yeah, have a fantastic rest of your day. Here's a random beat I made.